Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that is the beginning of the end. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 39 Battle for a New Champion, Episode 18, Finals Part 1. That's right, we are so close to the end of this season. You know, we got another part of the finals and then a two-part reunion, but we're a month away from being done with this season. Let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Nurys winning against Olivia and James in the final elimination. And everybody got dolled up to go to the bar, have a few drinks, hang out, dance. Well, TJ crashes the party and tells the remaining 7 that they have indeed made the final, and to say good luck to all of them. And that's when we go back to the challenge house where it's the final countdown. The timer is counting down from 24 hours, signifying that in just one day, the final will start. So everybody get mentally prepared, get physically prepared, do what you gotta do to get ready for TJ's final. Also, production wants everybody to be well fed, so they cater a final meal for everybody. And during the dinner, people find under their placemats letters from loved ones. Now, I don't hate this because it does have this like personal touch for everybody before we get into the final, but this is more like Survivor than it is The Challenge. And I want to make it clear, it's not just because this has never really been done on The Challenge before that makes it feel a little awkward. Logistically, it doesn't make sense to me because in a game like Survivor, like Big Brother, where you're cut off from your loved ones and society. With The Challenge, during the season, we've seen people have phone calls with loved ones back home. We've seen Emmanuel talk with his mom. We've seen Nurys talk to her mom and brother. I know those phone calls are very short. I know that they can't call home every single day, I'm sure of, but just knowing that they can call their loved ones at a certain point throughout the game makes these letters seem a little, I don't know, a little out of place. And then afterwards, everybody dons their challenge gear to head down to meet up with TJ to get the laydown for these finals and how these finals will run. After TJ went through every single finalist, giving a recap of how they got here, which was unnecessary in my opinion, TJ finally gives the breakdown of how the money will be distributed. Third place will win $36,000. Second place will take home $70,000. And first place will take home $250,000. Then TJ gets to the format of this final where there will be 3 sections, a control phase, a chaos phase, and a conquest phase, which is great because we've endured this season for 17 episodes, and what I was hoping to see in the final was us to watch a smaller, more abridged version of what we've been watching for the past 17 weeks. But first up is the control phase, where everybody's gonna have to work together. They're gonna be tethered to one rope. They have to run a long distance to get to a fortress, and then they have to navigate the fortress to find crates with different colored ropes in them. Once you find all your colored ropes, then you can unattach from the group and bring your ropes back to the start, where everybody's gonna have to use their ropes to complete a rope puzzle. There's one golden crate with 9 ropes in them, and if you find that, somebody can take all 9 ropes unattached right away and run back. They have to do this in 60 minutes or less, or they lose $16,000, which makes me laugh because just hearing the instructions and what they're gonna have to do, I laughed because I knew that they were going to lose money in the final. It's so laughable. Now, before they can run to the fortress, TJ lays out these drinks that are a mix of tuna and beets, and they have to down the whole thing and then take off to the fortress. Of course, Berna complains, but everybody gets down the nasty juice and takes off running to the fortress, which I don't know if it's the same fortress, but it kind of reminded me of the fortress from Brain Squeeze Daily Challenge from the Challenge USA 2. Instantly, I kind of felt like I knew they were going to lose money. They were just taking way too long to get to the fortress, and then at a certain point, they seemed like they were getting lost. They were meandering all around the fortress, taking their sweet time, looking for all these crates. I know that this was going to be difficult, but at the same time, it didn't look like they had any get up and go. The group seems to have found the golden crate with the 9 ropes in it pretty quickly. And because Corey was near the front, he decided that he was going to take all 9 ropes, unattach, and take off to get to the puzzle station. What really locks in this loss for them is that almost instantly after leaving the group, he drops a rope on the trail and he just takes off. Now, TJ didn't say a specific rule, but it sounds like nobody could help each other. They couldn't help each other carry each other's ropes. They couldn't take another person's rope. Everybody had to do their own work in this. So with Corey dropping his rope, he himself had to run all the way back with all the ropes still on him to pick up the rope and then carry all the ropes back. By the time he got to the puzzle station and everybody could then finally start working on the rope puzzle, there was less than 2 minutes and it was a lost cause at that point. They fail this control phase. They lose $16,000, where the breakdown then again is third place will officially get $30,000. Second place will now leave with $60,000. And first place still gets $250,000. This is where we get to the first twist of the final, where TJ says, now the group has to vote to send one person into an elimination. They decide that they're going to vote Corey in 5-2. The 2 votes that didn't vote for Corey was Colleen and Emmanuel, who decided that they were going to vote for Nerys. So Corey's going into the first elimination of the final, and TJ tells him that he can pick anybody that he wants to go up against. And he decides that he's going to pick Jay. Now, I do find it interesting that he picked Jay because Jay did say at one point while walking the fortress that he twisted his ankle. So I wonder if that played into of why Corey chose Jay. So we have Corey and Jay going into this elimination where they have to run around a field, collect a few bag of puzzle pieces, bring them to their puzzle station where they have to use their foot to make a table level. And the first person to stack all their puzzle pieces to make a tower will win this elimination, get to stay in the final. This elimination was interesting. I will say that this too gave me Survivor vibes as well, which kind of made me feel like maybe Jay would have this, but it was Jay who got a little too big for his bridges because both men were at their stations. They had collected all their puzzle pieces. Jay decided to speed up the tower process by stacking a ton of the blocks in the little container holding the blocks and then try to move it to the table. But when he tried to transfer from the box to the table, the middle just gave out and he dropped a whole bunch of the pieces. Corey took his time, stayed calm, cool, and collected, and was able to win against Jay. So Jay was eliminated. It's kind of crazy to think that in the past 2 episodes, Jay and Michelle, who had been running this season the entire time, is just gone in episodes 17 and 18. At least Jay could say he made a final, but it wasn't very long that he stayed. So now we're down to the final 6, and we get to the chaos portion. In the chaos portion, there will be 5 checkpoints, and at every checkpoint, everybody will be switching partners. The pairs for the first checkpoint are Mariah and Berna, Emmanuel and Colleen, and Corey and Nerys. What the pairs are going to have to do in this first checkpoint is run to a field, untie a rope that is around this American Gladiator ball. Then once untying this giant rope, they have to take it past a certain point in the field. Then they have to roll the giant American Gladiator ball past that line as well. It's almost like a one-sided not so fast where you're not connected to your partner. At a certain point, Emmanuel, Colleen, and Corey and Nerys were kind of neck and neck with each other while Berna's groin was hurting her as well as she cannot run. I don't understand Berna at this point because wasn't she just doing the drum roll daily challenge and kind of running like it was nothing? Berna on a hamster wheel? Totally fine. She has all the stamina in the world. Berna on dry land in the final, she's just flopping all over the place. Emmanuel and Colleen finish this in first place, get their time locked. Then Nerys and Corey finish this up, and eventually Mariah and Berna finish up. And this is where Berna starts to break down. Berna is crying. She's upset that she's not more prepared for this final. She feels like she is weak. Once TJ announces that her and Emmanuel will be partnered up for checkpoint 2, she's already apologizing that she's not going to be able to help him in this checkpoint 2, that she's going to hold him back. Berna is a mess, and we just started this final. The other pairs are Corey and Colleen, Nerys and Mariah, and in checkpoint 2, you gotta kayak from one beach around a buoy to another beach that has a puzzle where you have to make the puzzle pieces look like a bunny. Now, I thought Nerys would have a leg up on the competition because she's seen this puzzle before. However, when it came down to the kayaking portion, Emmanuel and Berna was able to get to the puzzle first, have more time on the puzzle, which then led to them finishing the puzzle before the other two teams. Corey and Colleen got to the puzzle second, and they were able to figure it out. Nerys and Mariah got to the puzzle station last, had the least amount of time, and was timed out. Now it's time for checkpoint 3, where the new pairs are Nerys and Colleen, Corey and Berna, Mariah and Emmanuel, where the teams are going to have to run to answer trivia questions by sawing off a crate that has an answer on it. Then they have to carry that crate to TJ. They have to do this twice. And this is where you kind of start to get that maybe Nerys is getting the wrong partners at certain stages. The kayaking portion definitely benefited the teams with the men on them because they had the upper body strength to get more power in the strokes, and they knew how to do the rhythm of the kayaking portion. So Nerys and Mariah had a disadvantage in that section. And then you get to checkpoint 3, where Colleen had the toughest time trying to just saw off the bag of puzzle pieces in the mini final. You already could feel that carrying a heavy crate was going to not be very advantageous for Nerys and Colleen, and then having to saw off these crates where Colleen is not going to be helpful whatsoever. Some of these questions are: who was the first American Idol winner? Who sang Barbie Girl? What is the circle's perimeter called? General knowledge stuff, some pop culture stuff, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Emmanuel and Mariah finished first. No surprise there. Corey and Berna eventually finish, even though they got a question wrong. They thought Argentina won more World Cups, but it was Brazil. And then in third place, because they timed out, was Nerys and Colleen. It sounded like Nerys hurt her hand on the first crate when trying to get it cut, and one of the ropes snapped on her hand. And Colleen, like I said, wasn't very helpful in this portion of the final. So Nerys' final is not starting off well whatsoever. But we get to checkpoint 4, where Emmanuel and Nerys are paired up with each other, then Berna and Colleen, then Corey and Mariah, and this is the eating challenge. The eating portion, they have to drink a jalapeno shot, stomach lining surprise, and lamb brain and eyeball soup. Colleen surprises me the most in this portion of the final. She demolished this. She dominated everybody. She completed her food first overall. Too bad she was paired up with Berna, who was complaining and crying yet again. And this is where I feel like the frustration with this cast hits me, and what I've been frustrated with throughout this entire game is that there is no long-term vision or seeing the big picture at certain points in the game. Because back in the control phase, yes, Corey dropped a rope, but I feel people let that cloud their minds instead of voting for somebody that you don't want to run together in the final with. The easy choice was to vote Corey, since he was taking the blame for the rope and everybody was so mad at him, but it was the emotional choice of voting in Corey. When I feel like the better option would have been Colleen, who in the mini final flopped. Why would you want to run with anybody who has proven that they can't run long distances? Or Berna, where in the beginning of this final, Mariah was saying that her groin was hurting her. If she is injured, why would you want to keep her in the game? I guess for overall, if you're going to be trying to get to first place, but this is where she's hurting you. And Colleen gets so frustrated because even though Colleen finishes first overall, Corey and Mariah finish first. Then it's Nerys and Emmanuel, and Berna does not finish. They get another time out, taking them out of the running for possibly winning this portion of the final and getting that secret power that TJ mentioned in the beginning of the chaos portion. But we're getting to the last checkpoint in this chaos portion, checkpoint 5, where Emmanuel is now with Corey, Nerys is with Berna, and Mariah is with Colleen. Everybody has to drink some tuna beet juice again, and then run off to grab a bag of balls, then use 2 slides of this slide that's not connected, and you have to work together to roll the ball down this slide and sink it into the container at the bottom. Now, here's another tally into a challenge that seems like it would be on Survivor. Even Berna says that this is very reminiscent to something she did on her Survivor season. It's so much like Survivor that Nerys and Berna sink it in, get first place. Corey and Emmanuel get second place. And third place is Mariah and Colleen, who time out yet again. That is Colleen's third time timing out on these challenges. This chaos phase did not work for her at all. She's always on the bottom, kind of like her position in the entire game to her own alliance. But everybody lines up, the final 6 line up, and TJ announces that Emmanuel has won the chaos portion. He has won safety, and he has won power. And that power is nominating one person to go into an elimination. Now, Emmanuel has a big decision to make, but he will be making it next week as we leave off on a cliffhanger. I have a feeling he's going to pick Nerys. He voted for her in the control portion. He had a lot of things to say about her in episode 17. They never worked with each other, and they just never seen eye to eye. So I have a feeling he's going to pick Nerys to go into the elimination, but we're going to have to wait to see what happens in next week's episode as we leave off on a cliffhanger. And that is it for this episode and for the first 2 stages of the final. I really don't know what I was expecting coming into this final. It just feels, I just can't put my finger on it, that it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel grand. It doesn't feel final-ish. It just feels like an extended part of the season that we've already been watching. Like just an extended daily challenge, which I guess is what a finals is. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it just doesn't feel like a final to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird. Maybe I'm expecting too much, or maybe I just don't know what to expect, and this just wasn't hitting for me just yet. But I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I think it's run-of-the-mill kind of vibes and challenges throughout the season that they're doing. So, yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's good. It's fine. I mean, I don't really have too much else to say. It's just weird. It's just a weird vibe. But what did you think about the start of this final? Let me know down in the comment section below. Is this final feeling like a final to you? Do you feel this like grand scope of things? Did you find it thrilling? Did you find it exciting? Let me know what you felt about this down in the comment section below. Who are you rooting for out of the final 6? And who do you think is going to be seeing an elimination at the start of next week's episode? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.